New class. I never remember to do that for my meeting until I start talking, but for yours, I remember.
Are we recording?
Yes, you are, I think.
For left.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. Good evening, all. Welcome to the, meeting of the Special Committee on Veteran Services, Committee Board number 8. And by now, you should have, I'll call the meeting to order. It's, just gonna be our committee members. Margaret's not here, we don't have, she's traveling. We don't have Herb Barrett. I'm gonna have to give Herb a call because he usually responds to emails not the same day. I'm gonna give him a call right after this meeting. And we have our other community member who did get an EC, Rob Spalter, on the line. Thank you for being here, Rob, and being
You're very
dedicated enough
welcome.
to show up.
My pleasure. I like being part of this.
We have our venerable district manager with us. Thank you for your assistance, Farah.
Yes.
My pleasure.
Okay,
Sorry
so
to miss.
we've all received the minutes of, right into the agenda. We've all received the minutes of December 4th.
I don't think we have, Sergio?
Yes.
I don't think we have quorum. It has to be physically in the room.
Actually, I think you do have quorum.
Because the quorum consists of the appointed members, right?
Right, I
Correct.
have no effect on quorum.
Right,
I think-
Farah?
Yeah, if you have 3 members, then a quorum is 2.
We have 3 appointed members and 2 community members.
So you have quorum.
It's just
Yeah, the
one.
community members don't count for quorum. We can vote. So that's why my not being there doesn't change the status in terms of the committee. It just means I don't have to have pizza. I don't get to have pizza.
That's what it comes down to. So, any discussion on the minutes?
I don't believe so.
Nope.
Gomez, do you have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of the December Veterans Committee meeting.
I second the motion. And,
We'll call for acclamation.
yep,
So,
Aye.
Aye.
Sort of.
okay. You and I voted yes, okay. So, the minutes are deemed approved. We have a few issues coming up. There's I received an invitation, the City Department of Veteran Services is having, in every borough apparently, a breaking bread event. And Commissioner Hendon sent out an invitation. I'm gonna forward it to the office. It said it's not non-transferable. I'm not sure in what capacity I was invited, either just as a veteran or the chair, either way. I just wanted to put it on the record, and I'll be forwarding the email so that everyone's apprised of it, at least. It's not my thing, I can't invite anyone, but I wanted to make sure that that's on the record. We were still receiving kudos on our Memorial Grove event. So that was very well received. As we said, this year's it was the biggest one that we've had. Now we're going to table the elected officials. We don't have anybody here from. Who's Rob Fishman? Hello, Robert Fishman.
Hello, how are you?
How are you? You're here for the Special Committee on Veteran Services, Committee Board 8?
Correct.
Are you with any organization?
I'm sorry, am I what?
Are you representing any organization or office?
Just myself.
Okay, well then, welcome very much.
Thank you. I
Are
just
you a
lost.
veteran, Rob?
Yeah, I went to a, excuse me, a service academy and then served from 70 to 75.
Oh, okay. Which service academy?
The Air Force Academy.
Very nice. I'm Sergio Villaverdi. I'm the chairman of the committee. I'm retired Coast Guard Reserve. We have, you're able to see who we have with us online. We have a district manager and a community committee member, Rob Spalter. And we also have the vice chair of the committee, Dr. Julia Gomez is here.
Hello, everyone.
Oh,
Thank you, and like I said, thank you again for being here. So if you have the agenda, we are on number 4. It's a report by elected New York City representative. That one is tabled until April. Farah Pablo confirmed that that's going to be for our next meeting, that we're going to have the chair of the council committee on veteran services, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
That's the plan. Now, there was one thing that was raised in the email, and I sent it to, I believe I sent it to the committee. If not, it's no big deal. We'll talk about it here. Last year, we gave out an award to Josh, the young veteran from the neighborhood. We did that at Memorial Grove. In Memorial Grove, as we all know, we do it in partnership with the Van Cortlandt Park Alliance. So I wanted to have a brief discussion on if we should in some way make the Veterans Award an ongoing thing. If we do, well, it's a little tricky because the committee is not an ongoing thing. It's a special committee, so it has to get renewed every year. So we'd have to consider, if we're not in existence, where it would go, and come up with criteria for it. So I'll open the floor for that.
I mean, I would, as chair of the youth committee, I'd be willing to take on a young veteran award or something. I think I could spin it to a certain degree of why I'd try to make sure that it happened under my committee. But I think, you know, as you often point out, so many of our veterans are very humble, and
Yeah,
they
that's what I was
don't,
thinking, that-
they don't give themselves enough credit for the sacrifices they and their family make for us, that I think if we can find a way to continue to recognize our service people, that we should. That's my 2 cents.
I happen to agree, and I think that we have to just try to find a way to engage some of our local veterans in the committee so that at least we know who they are.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
You know
if that
what?
first step isn't taken, then we don't know what to do. You know, it's like,
Well, I think now that there's a bit more of a structure, and we have more of a partnership with the city Department of Veteran Services. And actually, Margaret Della put us into contact through one of her events, our other committee member, with the commissioner of the State Department of Veteran Services.
Okay.
So, you know, hopefully we'll have them at our meeting as well, just introduce themselves, since we've already had in person the city agency, so we'll bring them in. But perhaps I think Rob, you know what? And we'll ask the office to I don't know, Farah, perhaps in terms of towards what Rob is saying, maybe getting help from the agencies identifying local veterans.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
and we
Yeah,
should
we
send them an
may
invitation
wanna-
to the meetings. You know what I mean? A specific
Right.
invitation. And then, you know, it's a face and a name, and there's a connection, and you can see that this person isn't gonna go crazy on you, you know, that, oh, I don't want this, you know, it's like,
Right, but yeah, that's probably a great approach, is to say we'd like to send them an invitation to the committee meeting.
and
And,
then go organically from there.
right, as an entree to saying why we'd like to do the outreach. And then we have a larger pool of veterans and people for the award, and people who hopefully may want to participate in the committee and even on the community board. I believe we only have 1 veteran on the community board, and that's a shame.
Yeah,
So So perhaps we could put that on the to-do list, Farah?
Yeah, we should create a list of outreach for the agencies and other veterans groups that we should reach out to with your agenda, invite them to the meetings. That would be
And
great.
maybe- Yeah, maybe get a list of people who are willing to be contacted
Right,
some way,
Sure.
you know, like, so,
Mhm.
as Rob said, so we're not intruding on people, but we say, hey, we're here, we'd like to reach out to you, would you give us your email address?
right.
Maybe start there.
And we
Okay,
could
so
put a
we'll count
flyer.
on-
We could put, I don't know
Right.
if they use social media as much, but we could send it to organizations with a flyer to reach out, to be put on our list to, to join us for our meetings as well.
Okay. And I think that will tie in directly to the award. But what my thought is to possibly also, in addition to youth, approach, the chair of the Parks Committee. Since we have the event at Memorial Grove every year, which is often where we give out the Veterans Award, that if this committee were to cease to exist, the award would be continued by the Parks Committee,
Mm-hmm.
right? Does that make sense? That, yeah, so if we have an award, if we set it up, and there's a resolution for it, it'll say this committee, and if not in existence, Parks, and then we could, okay.
I think
So
you
what
have to
we're gonna
run,
do-
you have to run it by the chair of the Parks Committee, first, though, right?
Mhm.
No, of course, that's assuming that. I wanna
No, I
formulate
get
what
it.
we're talking about. I wanna formulate what we're talking about first, to run it past her, to call Deb and ask her if she would be willing to do it. Anything else on the award?
I mean, I think if we move in this way, it might be in the best interest if we get this kind of in line with what other committees do for their awards. You know, maybe, I don't know that we have to do it this second, but construct some kind of criteria, have some questions, create a nominating form, so that, in addition to maybe us identifying someone who participates, like, I'm all in favor of, everyone's really quick to tell you when you mess up, but we never tell each other when we've done something really nice. We don't give each other enough compliments. So I'm like, anybody who wants an award can have an award as far as I'm concerned, because everybody's doing something that should be acknowledged. But moving forward, if, thinking of this award and this committee further down the line, we should have something set up so somebody else can pick up the
And
baton, because we are gonna be termed out.
There are, I think, 2 or 3 other, types of award given out by the community board that have criteria, so that could be a boilerplate, for what we want to do.
And can I add, we just released those nomination requests. It is on our website for the Community Service Award and the Most Valuable Merchant Award. And I know, Julia, you have, I think for the Youth Committee, you just worked on criteria for the Comeback Kid Award. So yes, Rob, that's exactly right. You guys can look at that for,
I've spent 60 years being Mr. Laura, so I'm used to helping facilitate the way things move forward,
Okay, so we'll start gathering those and circulate them amongst ourselves. And, yeah, I don't think, I think that's where the question came from our board chair. Is like, hey, I noticed you guys gave out an award, what's the criteria, is it permanent? I responded, it's rather, it was ad hoc,
right?
so there was no, but there's probably a reason to say that it should be permanent, and we should come up with some brief criteria.
And the first criteria should be that they're a veteran.
Yes.
I mean, I could see in the future, maybe families of veterans too, like we have, one of the community board members is the spouse of a veteran. Her husband is currently deployed and she's holding it down with 4 young kids and a medical procedure and working full-time. There's some value in the supporting the people who support our veterans.
Okay, that's fair enough.
This is exactly why we're gonna do the emails and send it around
That's right.
as widely as possible, right, to get all the good
Yeah.
ideas. Excellent, okay, so,
I don't know how she gets out of bed in the morning. Just thinking about that
Yeah.
overwhelmed me, sorry. It's like, ooh.
we'll follow up on that.
And people don't realize how much sacrifice there is for the families of the veterans, you know, whether they're the husband that's home with the kids or the wife that's home with the kids, whoever it is that's home. It's a lot. It's a lot to do by yourself because the whole marriage is a partnership. And when one partner's taken out of the equation, it's rough.
That's for sure, so, good point, Dr. Gomez. All right. I think we covered, does anybody have any old business? Any new, Mr. Fishman?
Robert, yes.
Robert, so tell us about yourself a little bit.
Sure. I'm not sure why my picture isn't showing. I'm sort of technically challenged, but
On the lower left side, next to the microphone, should be a thing that says camera, start video. No?
yep, there it
There
is.
you go.
Hey, all right.
So, we moved, my wife was born in Riverdale, and we live in the home next door that she was born in, and we moved to Riverdale from Dallas in 2004 and split our time between Riverdale and southern Vermont. I'm a retired lawyer. I worked for a telecommunications company. What else? I enjoy the outdoors. I do a lot of work myself on the house, which is over 100 years old. I enjoy Riverdale. I wish I was in Manhattan, but I also don't wish I was in Manhattan. So it's a mixed view about that. I'm reasonably fit, keep very active, skiing, rowing.
God bless.
What else? I think that's about it.
We hope to see you in person soon. This committee, we usually have our meetings in a cool place where we could grab a beer afterwards. Today
well,
was the exception.
That's great. Where are you now?
Right now, we're in the community board office in
Which
North Riverdale. What's the address here? It's the
76 Riverdale,
What's the cross street?
259th.
Okay. On the,
it's up by the Riverdale Steakhouse.
It's across
Okay.
the street from Skyview Shopping Center, kind of.
okay. Yeah, well, we live on, if there was a 253rd, we live like 253rd and a couple blocks off the river.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So we're a little I guess northeast of that right now. This is where the actual main community board office is.
Yeah, my wife
We're trying
got
to
me,
fix that.
my wife was very active with the community board. Weldon, got me interested in joining the Veterans Committee.
Good.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Are you on our mailing list?
I asked to be on it. Whether I am or not, I don't know. I mean, I didn't get,
Did you get a notice today?
no.
Did you eat?
So after we stop recording, I'll take your phone number and your email address, and I'll leave it on the list, Farah, okay?
I don't mind giving it to you now.
Now let's hold on till the recording is done.
Okay.
We noted your presence and such, but we'll just hold off for privacy's sake. Okay,
That's-
great. Any issues from your perspective, veteran-wise or non-veteran-wise in the neighborhood, Rob? Robert Fishman?
I mean, it doesn't seem like veterans are a recognized population group within Riverdale or the Bronx. I mean, it may be that I'm just not up to speed on all that's going on with veterans in the Bronx. But but for this, haven't really seen anything.
Robert, I'm not sure when you came on, but apropos to that, we do have we were just discussing, because we do have the City Veterans Services Commissioner who comes to our meetings, and deputy commissioners. In April, we're gonna have the chairman of the Committee on Veterans Services in the council, and we just decided, possibly right before you came on, that we're gonna reach out to those agencies to try and get a list of veterans who are willing to be contacted and invite them to the meetings, to do
Is
that
there,
outreach.
is there a, not that I've ever joined or been a member or even attended one, is there a VFW in the Bronx?
Yes, there are a couple.
Oh, there
A
are.
couple of VFWs, and there are 2 local American Legions.
And do we publicize at those entities?
We publicize the specific members of those entities. That's a great idea. Perhaps we should figure out a way, see if we could do it formally, but some of them don't have like a web page or formal way of reaching them, unfortunately. Some of them, like we were talking about, they just go about their business or get together once in a while, but they're also not, you can't tell, because people just, are working and living life.
I mean, old school, they may have bulletin boards.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure behind the bar, there's a bulletin board, yes.
Right.
Connected to the dartboard. But Robert, we'll be sure to get your information right now as we're closing.
Sure.
And
Before we close, I want to ask one other thing. Have you guys heard, I've seen news stories, and you have to look with a skeptical eye to news stories, that veterans funds from different agencies are being used for migrants and other things, non-veteran things, that the government is dipping in to veterans funds for other things. And that isn't right. I mean, we can fund whatever we want, pass a bill and fund it, but don't take funding from something else and then say, whoops, veterans, oh, you can't have that wheelchair or something. You know what I mean? It seems wrong to me, but I didn't really want to pursue it. I don't, it could be politically charged, and I'm not really looking to get involved in.
Well, you know what? We will ask. We will ask, and as we invite them, Farah, if we could remind Pablo when he reaches out, we could get a report on the budget for veterans.
Make sure they're using it for veterans, and and not.
Well, let's see what the budget is. The council passes a budget, it includes veteran services. It includes quite a few things that may touch upon veterans, even if it's not within that agency. And I think that's a worthwhile statistic for us to have.
Yeah, because I know the council member was talking a lot about how they need the transparency with the police bill that he just voted for, that I was furious about. And he says, well, we need this information. I said, why do you need it? But anyway, the purpose is that they want to have all the information about everything that happens with the police, because the people in the city council have such a vast background in law enforcement that it would be meaningful for them. It would be meaningful to them.
You know what? That's a discussion for another committee.
My wife is not
here. And we should certainly raise, and I've raised it in other committees, and we should continue to raise it, I think. All right, any other new business?
I have an item not that we need to talk about right now, but just to kind of start thinking about, to your earlier point of the status of the Veterans Committee. Do we want to try to become a standing committee, and what that process is, and how long does it take? And, because at a minimum, this committee has taken on Memorial Grove exclusively. is now talking about an award. There's an office that we could put budget requests into that we can't really do right now as a special committee. Maybe not even for this year. Maybe it's something that the committee takes up next year, but is that something we want to explore and or pursue?
Well, I'm gonna ask Pablo to put that on the agenda for next meeting. The status of the committee itself as an agenda item, because I'd like to have as many people, and have the board opine. Maybe people who are just interested in board operations, the officers or other chairs, opine on what their opinion is, because there's value to yes and no in that question, right? So, but yes, you're right. I think we should start to pop to.
How many years has the committee existed?
It's our third year?
I was gonna say 3.
Yeah, this is our third year as a special committee, which means that at the end of the community board year, which is June, the community board, by vote or the chair, reauthorizes the special committees for the next year. We had one a few years back. We had one about 8 years back, and then it was just not continued. And then it was revived about 3 years ago in this community board.
But the Memorial Grove thing has gone on every year uninterrupted, even during COVID. And that was through
Yes.
with the Parks Committee and with you,
Right. That was the Parks Committee and Herb Barrett and
Right.
the Alliance. Okay, no, I think that's a good thing. We're gonna make sure that's on the next agenda. Okay. Any other business? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Stop recording, please.